Welcome everyone to this Club Me Start a Business and Be Successful. This is going to be really fun. Being a business owner is something that I really like doing, and I can get a lot of money from it. So this will be great. So first of all, we're going to start out with our experience in running a business. So Kayla, do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
I could go first.
Okay.
Okay, so I, of course, like almost any kid, have done the lemonade stand thing. And, I've had some good times with that. Most of the times were not great. I only made a few bucks. But what has so far been my best business is Pet Pals. Now, you can see kind of on the right, there's a little paw print looking thing. And that's my logo. And it's a pet sitting business.
Sorry.
Hey, Sydney.
Anyways, it's a pet sitting business.
Hi.
So, Sydney, normally
Hey, Sydney.
we keep our mic off just so it doesn't echo around. So in the bottom left corner, that's okay, there should be a button that looks like a microphone, and you can mute it. Yep, there you go. Okay.
Sorry. So anyways, I made a lot of money with Pet Pals. I'm doing it again this summer. All right, so you could go on, Rochelle.
Okay, so my business, I've also done like a lemonade stand, like a lot of people have done. It's pretty fun, but again, it doesn't make a lot of money. Actually, one day I actually made $12, and that was like the most I've ever made at a lemonade stand. It's because my neighbors across the street in Kitty Corner bought like 20 million cups of lemonade, and if I got a lot of lemonade. But anyway, also a lemonade, not lemonade, sorry. Another business I started that has been more successful than a lemonade stand is Vacation Heroes. And that's where when someone's on vacation, I will go and take care of their plants, I'll water their lawn, I'll check their mail, and just kind of take care of their stuff while they're on vacation. So that's something that I do every summer, and I made quite a bit of money doing that. And actually, I started a business recently, like a couple months ago, where I do babysitting, and I get money for that, and it's called Date Night Rescuer. So, yeah. So tip number 1 that we're going to talk about is to have a goal in mind. When you're going to make money, you want to make sure that you have like a goal, not just like, I want to make money. It's like, let's say you want to buy a phone, or you want to earn $500 this summer and buy an iPhone 6. That's something I want to do. Or maybe you want to save up for a leadership education camp or whatever. So the reason it's good to have a goal, especially a good goal, is because when you're sorry, I lost my train of thought. When you put on your flyer, right now I'm saving up to buy a car so I can commute to school every day or something like that. They'll be like, oh, you're saving up to buy a car, you need a little extra, here's an extra $3 tip or whatever, great job. It kind of helps motivates people. Go ahead, Kayla.
It can help motivate yourself. Like the first year I did Pet Pals, I was saving up for Surface RT, and that's like the Microsoft tablet. And when you accomplish your goal, it feels really good. Like I'm still, even though the Surface RT is old and outdated now, it's a couple years old, I still feel really proud that I was able to earn enough money for it. And as Rochelle was saying with the whole little extra thing, there is that. I mean, I haven't ever actually done that myself, but like, also the fact that you're young, they do like that. Like, oh, cool, it's a young kid, so even just having a cute face can help you.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, okay. So tip number 2 is to fill a need. So this is like how to come up with a idea for a business. So here's just an example of what I did. So lots of families in the neighborhood. What'd you say, Odessa?
I have to leave for a second.
Okay, that's fine. So there was lots of families in my neighborhood with lots of little kids, like 3 to 4 little kids. There's lots of them. And there's only like a few other girls my age. And so I decided to start a babysitting business because I have 5 younger siblings and I really like kids and I'm good with kids. So I decided to start a babysitting business. So also there's lots of people with gardens in my neighborhood. And so I decided to take care of people's gardens while they're on vacation because that's something that my family needs when we're on vacation. And so I figured there's lots of other people that have the same problem. So if there's a problem or a need, like let's say you're good at doing crafts or something, and there's a group in your area that needs lots of bookmarks to do something with, or then you can help them and use your talents to help other people. So Kayla, do you want to do this one?
Yeah, okay. So it's good to come up with like a catchy name. Like you don't want, for example, because I do a pet sitting business, girl who pet sits pets for fun or something. So I came up with Pet Pals, and that's nice because it's PP. Rochelle came up with Date Night Rescuer, Vacation Heroes, and people may not always remember your name, but it does add a little more professional feel to it. Yeah, so you can go to the next slide, I guess.
Yeah. So like if you had a business and you played, the ukulele and you're like, playing ukulele business association of the state of Utah or something like that, it's like you're never going to be able to remember that. But if you say ukulele jazz group or something like that, you can be able to remember that a lot easier. So I'll do this one, or Kayla can do this one, doesn't matter. So realistic pricing is something that can be really difficult to come up with. This is my pricing for my babysitting. And some of you might be looking at it and going, whoa, that's like way expensive for babysitting, or that's really cheap for babysitting. But it really just depends on your area, because in some areas, they're going to be like, oh, we're going to pay you $1 per hour. Or no.
In my area, it's usually like at least $5 an hour for a kid. So again, it kind of depends on where you live.
Yeah, so there's a lot of kids in my area, a lot of families in my area would have like 3 kids. So I say $7 per hour, and so for 3 hours is $20, So you just really have to go in Odessa's area, it's like $1, or, it just depends on what your neighborhood is like, because my neighborhood's kind of a little cheaper, but in Kayla's area, she can charge more because people are willing to pay more.
Exactly. Like, my pet sitting business, I charge like $5 just to go over once, and Rochelle thought, wow, that's really expensive. Like, some people, they pay them like $10 to go over every day for a week or something. And so you kind of have to know your audience and what they're willing to pay. And it's also nice to compare prices, and especially if you're going up against like a corporate company or something. Like I've seen not Pet Pals, but like Pet Sitting Flyers that they're charging like $15 a visit or something. So,
yeah. Another thing is that sometimes people will be willing to pay more or less. Like I had a babysitting job and they have 4 kids and they're kind of more difficult children. And I was going to give them my flyer with my pricing on it. And she's like, well, so I usually pay about $5 per hour. And I was thinking, $5 per hour? Ooh. Because, for like 4 really difficult children. And then she's like, per child. And I was like, $5 per hour per child? And so she paid me like $40 for a couple hours. And I was just like blown away. I was like the happiest person on earth. I was like, $40. Oh yeah. I was super excited. But then other people, if I'd given her my flyer, I could have gotten, like $15. for that same job. So you just sometimes have to let them choose what they're pricing, what they're willing to pay. Because some people will be willing to pay more, and some people are like, it's really not that worth it to me. So I'm only going to pay you $5 instead of 10 or whatever.
That being said, it is in a way good also to put out your flyer, because I've had a reverse situation where someone said, okay, so I'm going to pay you this much for you to come, and that was a lot less than what or not a lot less, and it was less than what what I charge. And so, but it's awkward to say, oh, actually I charge more than that. And so in a way, if you could just show them up front, that's the reverse side. So I don't know, you have to be careful with that.
Yeah, so you really don't want to, you want to be able to have your flyer out there, but if people say, oh, actually, I feel like you did a really good job and I should pay you like $10 more. Don't be like, no, don't pay me $10 more. I'm sorry. I mean, maybe some people are nice and do that, but I have trouble with that. Hold on just a minute. Sorry about that. My siblings are in my room. So tip number 5 is to make a logo. So you want something that's really simple and something that recognizes you and something that symbolizes your business.
Can I do this one?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So if you go to the next slide, so some different things. So this was one of my original logos. I did clip art, and so I put in like little animals in each paw print, which is kind of cool. But the problem with that is your logo, you got to be able to shrink it down onto a flyer or make it big. And if this is small, it's just gonna look kind of weird, and it may look cool, but there's a lot going on. And so I talked with my parents for advice, and you can ask different people. So show the next one. So that my new logo is like, my actual logo is like this, and so it's a lot simpler and cleaner. And if it's small, people are still going to be able to see. It's not going to be like, what's that in the paw print or the paw things? That's weird. And what I use like Windows Paint or something, but there's lots of different things you can use. You could use PicMonkey, Google Drive. So, there's just a lot of different things you can use to make your logo.
Yeah, I think I used Microsoft Paint for one of them. But PicMonkey is really great. You can see a tutorial on that on our YouTube channel. So the things I wanted to point out on this is that it's a nice paw print that represents the company. It's a nice square-ish. You don't want something that's like super long and skinny like this, Also, it has the PP, which stands for Pet Pals, so it's really nice. So tip number 6 is to make a flyer. Sorry, my throat's drying out. So here's a couple of flyers that I've made. You can see the Date Night Rescuer one and the Vacation Heroes one. So here's some points about my flyer. That's awesome, Odessa. She says her friend's mom is an expert at logos and stuff, and she used to get paid for it. She's done stuff for Odessa's mom. That's really cool. You can actually make a lot of money, helping people with logos or making websites or whatever. So, Vacation Heroes, we'll save your vacation. And then I have a little bit of stuff about my vacation. So I have the title nice and big and bold. So right away, they know what it is, what the company is called. And then I have a subtitle, We'll Save Your Vacation. Then I have a brief summary about it. I have my contact information plain and bold right there. I have my Vacation Heroes logo. I have my website and a little side note down there. My internet is cutting out a little bit, so sorry if you can't hear me. So tip number 7 is to make a website. Do you want to do this one, Kayla? Or I can do it, Kayla, if you don't want to.
Sorry, I couldn't find my mouse. Okay, so a website really is nice because you could go into depth than what you have on your flyer. So, like on my flyer, I put like $5 a visit, but I say, look at my website for additional details. So you could go into more what you do, like the flyers kind of to get them interested. And if you have a website, you can really go into depth. I have on my website, I have a lot of pictures of animals too, and different things I pet sit, and it talks more about me. And it also does look cool. People think, oh wow, it's a website. That's all professional, and this is so cool. And it's not just like some scrawny kid trying to make a quick buck. So a website really will help. And I know myself sometimes, like if I see some sort of ad, like I'd rather look at a website than call, because first to see if I really am interested in it. So that is why you should make it.
Yeah, I mean, like, I've had people tell me, that is so cool you have your website. Your website's so impressive. I mean, how many babysitters do you know that have, their own professional website, right? So here's some website makers that we suggest. So there's Wix.com, Weebly.com, and Sites.google.com. So you have to sign up for each of those, but they're all really good, and they're all free. You can pay extra to have your own domain, like mybusiness.com or whatever. Or you can just have like a part domain. Like for Wix, you have to have this one part domain and then the subdomain. So like my website is awesomesite101.wix.com/vacationheroes. So it's kind of long and hard to remember. But Weebly
is definite downfall.
Yeah. So it's free, but it is hard to remember and everything. So if you have bit.ly, you can sign up for that and just get some, like, a free shortened domain. So you go to bit.ly/vacationheroes, and it'll take you to your website or whatever. Weebly is better. We use this for the Spark Club website, thesparkclub.weebly.com, so it's a little easier to remember. And sites.google.com is a really long domain. It's like taking me out of my breath. It's like sites.google.com/site/the Spark Club or whatever. So it's a lot longer domain. But they're still free, and if you have like a shortened domain, it can be okay. And it's all free. That's what I like about it. Okay, so here is my website, and I have my home and how it works and other stuff I do and contact information and just about me right up front there. This is Kayla's. Kayla's website is really nice. You can see the URL up here, glennkirkestates.wix.com/petpals. So it is a longer domain, but that's okay. You've got About Us. You want to have a little bit about your company and why you're even worth it, Services/pricing, you can call it whatever you want. And something to contact you. Here's my Vacation Heroes website. And one thing I have on here that's different is I have special deals. Like special deals, if you do this and this and this service, then you'll get $5 off or whatever. So tip number 8 is to talk to people. Kayla, do you want to talk about this one?
Okay, so when I was putting out my flyers for my pet sitting business, my dad told me, if you see someone in the neighborhood when you're putting up your flyers, you need to talk to them. And I'm like, oh yeah, sure, no problem. And I kind of get there, and he was walking with me. He's like, oh, look, there's someone to talk. And I was kind of like thinking, I don't want to do that. Like it's kind of freaky to talk to strangers. But I finally went up, and this one guy, he saw me. I was dropping off my flyer, and he came out, and he asked me about it. I was able to have a nice conversation with him, and he ended up actually calling me. People remember a face better, and if you're nice and friendly, then they're more likely to call you. So it may be scary, but it's good to talk to people.
Yeah, so make sure you talk to people and don't just like tape. It's like, here's my flyer, take it, bye. Like, that's awkward. They wouldn't want to call you as much. Okay, so here's a business card. Business cards, you need your name, your business name and your name nice and clear and bold on there. Your contact information and your website if you have one. Business cards are nice because it's like, so I have a website and I have a business and I do babysitting, and here's my business card. You can go to my website and learn everything else you need to learn about it, rather than having to tell them a whole bunch of stuff. Tip number 10 is to do services now and products later. So what I mean by this is services is something like babysitting or mowing someone's lawn or, taking care of their pets or whatever. And a product would be something more like a book or lemonade or something like that you have to sell to them. So if you do services now, services are something you don't really need a bunch of supplies. Well, you can go and buy extra equipment to mow the lawn with or whatever. You can just do it right now. And babysitting, you just do it right now. But a product, it could take time to develop. It can also take money to buy the craft supplies or whatever to make the product. So you need to earn the money doing services now and then do the product later when you have the supplies, you have the time. Because products take a long time to do, and if you have a ton of them and then no one wants to buy any, then it's like you just wasted all that money. So, Kayla, did you have anything else to add before we turn the time over to questions?
Nope.
Okay. So does anyone have any questions or comments or thoughts on making a business? I'll stop sharing.
Well, my mom, I've always wanted to be a babysitter, but my mom says that nobody's going to pay me, so I shouldn't.
Okay. Well, I guess it really just depends on your area, because if you're in that kind of area where it's free and they're not going to pay you for anything, then I guess that's something you have to consider. But if you have someone somewhere else that is willing to pay you, like I've done free babysitting for family members or whatever, and then I'll do paid babysitting to people in my area. So I guess you just have to kind of adjust to what your area is like.
My mom actually thinks that I'm going to be more successful because I could do it by the road, or people coming home from work in summer. It's gets really hot here, and so they'd probably want a glass of lemonade. My mom thinks that would actually be the most successful I could ever do.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to tell my most successful lemonade stand story. Whenever I talk about good lemonades, my one success story. We went there. We were cute little that people are going to be driving by. I don't know what. That doesn't always happen. Don't get me wrong, but so sometimes you get the right chemistry, and so I guess you can maybe experiment with it, see what's a good time, what's a good place. So yeah, you should go for it.
Yeah, in my area, I live a couple blocks away from 2 or 3 different school zones. And so right around 3 o'clock, there's a bunch of kids coming home from school. And I can't say that all of them are going to have money in their pocket, but they might say, oh, look, there's lemonade. I'm going to go and get some lemonade. I'm going to go home and get my money or whatever. Yeah, go ahead, Kaylee.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, we froze. I have a question on whether or not what you guys know about the whole bake sale requirements in order to do a bake sale here in Utah. Because I know that you have to be able to have food handlers and all that in order to sell food in Utah these days. Even with lemonade now, I've heard of stories of kids getting in trouble with the cops because they were selling it without food handlers. So I want to do a bake sale, but I don't know if there's any certain requirements that you guys know that would be necessary to do that.
I live in Virginia, so you'd have to ask Rochelle.
That is true.
Well, I just heard about that like the other day. I haven't actually heard about that before. I should look into some research for it because I've sold lemonade before and never had a problem. But it could be that there's other problems. I just need to research some more about it because I just barely heard about it like a couple days ago.
Because I do have a food handlers for my job, but it's I've always wanted to do a bake sale, and I'm not sure how that would go over with it being in a non-certified kitchen.
Right. See, like, I don't know, because I've wanted to do a bake sale before, too, and so I was thinking about doing it to my neighborhood, so I don't know if that would be a problem versus, like, doing it to the whole everybody, and being super successful or whatever.
Yeah. If people did suggest that, I would invest in renting an actual restaurant or a bakery in order to do that, but I'm just saying something to raise a little extra money.
Right. Okay. Yeah, sorry, I don't really know a lot about that, but I'll look into it.
Okay, thanks.
Yep. Okay, unless there's any other questions, I think we can be done. Any other comments or thoughts you'd like to share before we leave? Okay, thanks everybody for coming, and we'll see you next week, hopefully.